Discover the incredible moment a CEO stood up to protect a pregnant student from bullying in the heart of an urban high school. Emma Carter stepped into the underfunded urban high school, her heart racing. As CEO of a thriving company, she had traded boardrooms for classrooms, believing in her mission to uplift those who needed it most. Today, however, was different. A gut feeling nudged her, whispering that her journey would take an unexpected turn. The bright hallways, brightened expertly by the sunlight streaming through the cracked windows, became a stark contrast to the shadows hovering around Mia, a talented 16-year-old navigating the tumultuous waters of adolescence with an unexpected pregnancy. Mia's brilliance shone brightly, dimmed only by the relentless bullying she faced from classmates who couldn't see past her circumstances. Emma had been like Mia once, the daughter of a single dad who worked tirelessly in a factory, struggling to make ends meet. She remembered the stares, the whispers, the isolation. Just then, a wave of protectiveness surged within her. Emma's breath caught in her throat as she watched students jeer at Mia, their laughter piercing through the walls of her heart like knives. While delivering a guest lecture, Emma observed how the room's atmosphere turned toxic. "You just don't fit in," one girl sneered, her voice dripping with disdain. Emma felt her chest tighten. She shared her own story of resilience, hoping it would empower Mia and others. Yet, the deep-seated prejudices surrounding them loomed larger than any inspirational tale. Then, a sudden thought sparked within her mind. What if that were your sister? Your friend? The room fell into an electrifying silence, her authoritative voice a striking contrast to the hostility in the air. Mia, taken aback, stood frozen. Staring at the CEO, her vulnerability flickered in her dark eyes, a mix of gratitude and fear. Before Emma could continue, Mia spoke up, her voice quivering like a fragile feather caught in the wind. She shared not just her pain but her dreams, a college education for herself and a better life for her child. The atmosphere shifted again. Peers who once snickered felt their defenses drop. A ripple of empathy washed over the room, transforming it into a sanctuary of shared experiences. But the school administration's hesitations clamped down on the budding transformation. They feared backlash, a mirror to their own insecurities. Emma's determination grew as she and Mia began crafting a campaign promoting compassion, pushing for respect not just in school but throughout the community. Together, their voices resonated with a new energy, drawing support from students and educators alike. Yet, as hope blossomed, tension stirred. Could they really confront these issues head-on, or would obstacles crush their efforts? Just when they seemed to gain momentum, an unexpected confrontation loomed. Emma braced herself, ready to take a stand once more. As she prepared to speak, the audience held its breath. Would their powerful message ignite a change, or would prejudice snuff out their hard-won light? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Emma's heart raced. She faced the crowd, empowered by their anticipation. Could she and Mia truly conquer the shadows of discrimination that threatened to engulf them? The answers lay just ahead, wrapped in the uncertainty of their journey, but one thing was clear: the fight for dignity was only just beginning. Emma took a deep breath, her eyes sweeping over the sea of faces, some filled with curiosity, others still masked in judgment. She felt the weight of Mia's presence beside her, a reminder of everything they were fighting for. This was about more than just Mia. It was about every student who felt alone and devalued. Before we go any further, Emma began, her voice steady yet vulnerable. Let me remind you of something fundamental. We are all multifaceted beings, not just the labels we carry: student, pregnant, bully, or victim. Each of us has a story that deserves to be heard. The murmurs in the room softened as she spoke. Emma shared a personal tale of a time she too felt out of place, the shame she battled through her youth. I faced those same cruel comments, the shunning. It hurts, doesn't it? She said, her sincere gaze searching their eyes. Mia's heart fluttered at Emma's courage, and she felt emboldened. Gathering courage from Emma's words, she stepped forward, her voice gaining strength. It's true, I'm pregnant. But that doesn't define my future or who I am. I'm here to learn, to grow, just like all of you. This time, there were more nods than scowls. Emma noticed a shift in energy as those who had been dismissive began to open their hearts. Conversations sparked around the room. A girl in the back raised her hand timidly. How can we help? Let us start with compassion, Emma urged. It's okay to be different. It's okay to face challenges. The real problem is the stigma that comes with it. We need to break down those walls together. And then, as inspiration flowed, the students began sharing their own experiences. Bullying, isolation, and mental health struggles were laid bare. It felt cathartic, and in these moments, camaraderie was forged. Emma could see Mia transform right before her eyes, her shoulders straightened, her chin lifted slightly. I want to start a club, Mia proposed, her voice ringing out with newfound determination, a space where we can support one another, share our stories, and promote kindness. Cheers erupted spontaneously, and the atmosphere surged with hope. Emma's heart swelled as she realized they might be onto something significant, yet, amidst this whirlwind of empowerment, doubts crept in again. The school administration had been hesitant, and there were rules to navigate. Will they support MIA's club? Emma wondered. Or would they dismiss it because they fear the change it might bring? As if reading her thoughts, Mia whispered, what if we face backlash? What if they don't want to hear our voices? The uncertainty weighed heavily between them, but Emma was resolute. Then we make them listen. We'll gather support, build bridges, and show them the beauty in our differences. By the time the bell rang, signaling the end of the class, there was a palpable shift in the air. Emma and Mia exchanged smiles, warriors bound in this vulnerable yet exhilarating battle. But lurking at the edge of their newfound triumph was the nagging fear of opposition. As they stepped out into the hallway, the vibrant energy from the classroom lingered in Emma's heart. But she knew the challenges were far from over. The real test lay ahead. Would they truly succeed in changing minds and hearts? Just then, a shadow crossed her path, a familiar face filled with disdain. Emma's stomach tightened as she felt the tension rising once more. Could they remain steadfast in the face of adversity? Would they find allies when it mattered the most? The moment of truth loomed, and Emma braced herself for what was to come. Emma's heart pounded in her chest as she recognized Alex, a notorious figure in the school known for his sharp tongue and colder demeanor. The hallway thrummed with whispers, a magnetic pull that drew onlookers into the unfolding drama. She clenched her fists, unwilling to show the crack in her determination. What's this, Emma? A little support group for the unwanted? Alex sneered, his smirk a sharp dagger aimed at both Emma and Mia. It was as if the atmosphere had turned icy, a chill creeping through Emma's resolve. The laughter of others echoed eerily, feeding off his bravado, but instead of freezing, Emma felt an unexpected surge of anger. The very essence of what they had just achieved, the shared stories, the compassion that had blossomed, ignited a flame within her. This isn't just about Mia. It's about everyone who has been hurt by people like you, she retorted, her voice sharper than she anticipated. The words hung in the air, filling the silence that followed. Mia glanced at Emma, wide-eyed but buoyed. She could feel the tremor of solidarity in the air, mingling with fear. And though Alex's eyes darkened, the moment stretched, and something shifted. Emma noticed a few students stepping forward, including the girl from class who had raised her hand earlier. We all have stories, Alex, she said softly. You never know who might be listening. Emma could see Alex's facade wavering, the bravado dimming just slightly. But it was Mia, stepping next to Emma, who took everyone by surprise. And you know what? I'm not ashamed of being pregnant. This child is my future, just as each of you is destined for something great. Maybe you're just scared of what you don't understand. A ripple of gasps spread through the hall. The tension hung thick, and for the first time, Alex faltered. Staring into the crowd for the flickers of solidarity, his bravado gave way to uncertainty. But it would take more than that to change his ways. We're not here to give in to bullying, Emma continued, a wave of courage sweeping over her. We're building a community of support, where kindness isn't seen as weakness. where everyone is welcome. And you can either stand on the sidelines throwing stones, or you can join us and be a part of something greater. Silence engulfed them, but now, it wasn't an oppressive weight. It was charged with possibility. Mia felt a rush inside her, empowered by Emma's fire. Several students stepped up, echoing their support. One by one, voices joined together, calling for respect, or simply speaking out against the status quo. Yet amidst the growing unison, a flash of panic raced through Emma. Would Alex lash out in retaliation? Would the school administration step in and erode the momentum they'd built? As the crowd rallied around them, eagerness painted their expressions with hope. Emma turned back to Mia. "This is only the beginning, isn't it?" she whispered with a mix of excitement and trepidation. Mia nodded, her heart visibly softened but filled with resolve. "But do you think they'll really listen?" Just then, the school principal stepped into view, her stern expression amplifying the tension anew. A wave of uncertainty washed over Emma. This wasn't just a moment, it was a watershed. Would they be heard, or rejected? With her throat tightening, Emma stood her ground. This was their time, and she felt it deep in her bones, but as the principal's gaze met hers, the question loomed larger than ever. Would their voices resonate beyond these walls? This was more than a simple confrontation. The stakes were rising, and Emma's heart raced with anticipation and fear. Would this confrontation propel them forward or plunge them back into silence? Emma held her breath, the weight of the moment pressing against her chest. The school principal, Mrs. Henderson, surveyed the assembled crowd with a keen eye, as if sizing up both the students and the situation. Her hair was pulled tightly back into a bun, and those glasses perched on her nose had a way of making her look both authoritative and unyielding. Emma couldn't shake the feeling that an avalanche of consequences could fall at any moment. "What's going on here?" Mrs. Henderson's voice cut through the low murmur of excitement and fear. The crowd fell silent, every eye darting between her and Emma. Emma's heart raced again, but this time, she was ready to stand her ground. "We're speaking out against bullying," Emma said, her voice ringing clear. "Mia needs our support, and we're tired of silence." The principal raised an eyebrow, her expression a careful mix of skepticism and curiosity. "Is that right?" Before Emma could respond further, a familiar figure stepped forward. It was Aaron, the CEO of a local charity dedicated to youth empowerment. He was part of the school board, always keen to advocate for the students' well-being. "Mrs. Henderson," he said calmly, turning the principal's attention, "may I speak?" Emma's heart leaped. Aaron had a way of lighting up a room when he spoke, his confidence almost palpable. As he continued, she noticed how he drew in the audience, his words finding the vulnerability hidden in their hearts. "I know this school has its challenges," he began, his voice steady. "But it's time we all took a stand. It's time we teach our students that bullying won't be tolerated. Mia is not alone, she deserves our support just like everyone else." The principal regarded him with a mix of surprise and respect. Emma could sense something shifting. "What do you propose?" she asked, surprisingly open to his input. Aaron glanced around the room, measuring the mood. "Let us create a safe space where students can share their stories, where they can understand one another and support one another. It's a beginning, but it's an important step." What followed was a wave of murmurs, a ripple of hope washing through the gathering. Emma caught Emma's eye, both of them buoyed by the prospect of tangible change. "I want to get behind this initiative," said Emma impulsively. "If we can create a group for all of us who've been bullied or who need support, then we can transform this environment. It won't just be about Mia. It'll be about everyone." Mrs. Henderson seemed to soften slightly, glancing at the now excited crowd. The hesitation in her eyes hinted at the realization that this was indeed something worth supporting. "I think we can work together. I'll set up a meeting with the board, and we'll see how we can implement this program," she said, her voice now more inviting. As excitement buzzed through the group, Emma felt a surge of relief and triumph. Perhaps this moment would mark a turning point, a chance for many students to be heard, but as cheers sprang up around her, Emma felt a nagging sense of unease. Alex's piercing gaze hadn't left her. She could tell he was simmering with something dark, ready to explode. The air shifted again, and uncertainty loomed on the horizon. Is this really over? She thought, worries gnawing at her. Just then, Alex stepped forward once more, a smirk slowly spreading across his face. Oh, it looks like someone thinks they won. But trust me, Emma, this isn't finished yet. Emma's heart sank as the crowd shifted uneasily. What did he mean by that? Would the darkness behind him snuff out the light they had fought so hard to ignite? As laughter turned to nervous whispers and murmurs of apprehension swirled, Emma took a deep breath. She refused to back down now. What was Alex planning? Would they ever truly be free of his shadow? Emma's heart was pounding in her chest, each beat echoing her fear and defiance. The way Alex's eyes gleamed, a storm brewing within, sent chills down her spine. She could sense the crowd's shifting energy, a collective apprehension filling the space. Would they stand with her, or would they cower back into silence? With every ounce of courage she could muster, Emma stepped forward, her resolve as strong as steel. You think this is a game, Alex? It's not. This is about real lives. Her voice quaked, but she stood tall. The murmurs of the crowd faded into a heavy silence, all eyes darting back to Alex, awaiting his response. You're cute when you're angry, Emma, he shot back, amusement mixing with menace in his tone. But you really think you can change anything here? You'll just make it worse for yourself. A smirk twisted his lips, igniting a fire inside her. Maybe we're the ones who are changing things, Alex. Emma retorted, feeling the words escape her with passionate energy. Just you wait. We won't be quiet anymore. She turned to MIA, who now stood beside her, visibly strengthened by Emma's words. We won't let you intimidate us or anyone else. We'll fight for every single person who has been hurt. The crowd seemed to swell with newfound support. The cheers grew louder, each cheer sending waves of confidence surging through her. She felt MIA squeeze her arm with gratitude and solidarity. But right as triumph threatened to overtake her, a cold laugh sliced through the air. Who said anything about intimidation? This isn't just child's play, Emma. You're in over your head. Alex leaned back, as if this were all a game, an intricate chess match where he never lost. But I'll give you one chance to back down. If not, things will get messy. Emma glanced at the crowd again, faces filled with a mix of hope and concern. The unease settled like a heavy fog. Would they stand with her against Alex, the known bully? Would she make them vulnerable by continuing this standoff? What are you going to do, Alex? Emma challenged, each word deliberate. Prime us for a feeding frenzy? He shrugged, the casualness of his body language contrasting with the tension in his words. Let us just say I have my ways of making people regret sticking their noses where they don't belong. Fear was creeping back in, biting at her resolve. But deep below the surface, a sense of urgency began to shift into determination. She didn't only fight for herself or MIA, she fought for everyone who had ever felt small and silenced. As she opened her mouth to shout once more, Aaron stepped forward again, a solid presence amidst the chaos. His eyes sparkled with inspiration, igniting hope in the now restless crowd. Listen, everyone. If Alex wants to play games, that's fine. But we are stronger together, and that's something he can never take from us. The energy in the crowd shifted again, a wave of unity blossoming in that moment. Emma felt her spirit rise. Everyone here matters, she called out, no longer just speaking to Alex but to every student in attendance. We won't be afraid. We're done being quiet. But then, just as victory felt close enough to grasp, Emma felt the whispering doubts tighten around her. What if Alex had something planned? What if this was only the beginning of a much darker path? What will it cost us all? Emma wondered, every heartbeat quickening with a mix of fear and resolve. She dared to look back at Alex, who was now watching her intently, his expression unreadable. In that charged moment, her mind raced with possibilities, and then she blurted out the question that hung in the air. What if we don't back down? The room held its breath. What would happen next? The choice was clear, but the consequences loomed heavy. What lay ahead could change everything. Emma felt the air electrify around her, eyes riveted on Alex, who reveled in the drama unfolding. The crowd was a mixture of anticipation and dread, their collective breath hanging like a fragile thread. She could hear her heart beating louder, a war drum urging her to push forward. "Don't you get it, Emma?" Alex leaned in, venom dripping from each word. "You think you're making a stand, but you're really just making yourself a target. You'll regret this." His smug expression ignited a fire in her again. She refused to let his words sink in, locking eyes with him as if they were engaged in a silent duel. "Regret? I'll never regret standing up for what's right. I'd rather be a target than be silent." More cheers erupted from the crowd, their resolve bolstered. Though fear still slithered in the corners of her mind, Emma felt invigorated by the support surrounding her. With every cheer, she visualized a wave crashing against Alex's arrogance, pulling at the foundation of his dominance. "Looks like you've got a little fan club," Alex mocked, glancing at the students rallying behind Emma. But she noticed his composure slipping, revealing a flicker of uncertainty. It was just enough to embolden her. "You're right, Alex," she said, voice steady and clear. "We're not just a fan club. We're a movement. A movement for change. A movement that's tired of your bullying." At that moment, she caught Emma's eye, a determined spark igniting between them. They were in it together, united against the intimidation. The crowd was more than spectators, they were part of the fight. "That's right," Emma chimed in, stepping beside Emma. "We're not going away. And your intimidation tactics? They stop here. Today." The energy shifted palpably, a connectedness thrumming through the air. Emma felt the tides turning. People were standing up, holding each other's hands, nodding in agreement. But Alex wasn't going to let it go that easily. "You think this will end well for you?" he asked, his voice dropping to a low whisper. "People like me have ways to make people like you disappear." Emma's stomach twisted at his threat. A murmur of concern wafted through the crowd, shrinking the space between hope and fear. But she wouldn't back down now, not after everything they had worked for. "Your threats don't scare us, Alex," she asserted, fists clenched. "What scares us is standing by and watching you hurt others. We are here for each other, and we won't let you tear us apart." A roar erupted, drowning out Alex's silence. Each voice was a note in a powerful chorus, echoing solidarity. But as Emma looked at Alex, she saw something change in him, a flicker of fury, perhaps a hint of fear. "Fine," he said quietly, a sinister smile creeping onto his face. "If you want to play this game, let us play. Don't say I didn't warn you." Emma felt the ground shift beneath her. Was this truly just the beginning? She sensed deeper schemes, something darker lurking in Alex's words. "What now?" she mouthed to Mia, each of them caught in a whirlwind of solidarity and uncertainty. As they stood together, surrounded by their peers, Emma wondered what Alex's next move would be. The stakes had never felt higher. Would they survive the battle ahead, or would it become something worse altogether? Emma's heart raced, knowing that whatever lay ahead could shatter everything they'd fought for, but was she prepared for the fallout? Emma took a deep breath, trying to steady herself amidst the uproar. The energy in the crowd was palpable, but it clashed with the worry inching back into her mind. Alex's words replayed in her ears, each syllable tinged with a dark promise she couldn't shake off. "What do you think he meant by that?" Mia whispered, her voice barely carrying over the chatter around them. Emma glanced at her friend, catching the worry etched across Mia's brow. She wished she had an answer, had some sort of insight to offer. "I don't know," Emma admitted, her heart thudding in her chest. "But I won't let his threats freak me out. We can't back down now." Their eyes flickered back to Alex, who was scanning the crowd, a predator looking for weaknesses. The tension tightened in Emma's chest, but she felt a surge of determination. She needed to stand strong. "Look, we started this. We stand together. But what's next?" Mia asked. The question hung heavy in the air, an unspoken recognition of the uncertainty that lay ahead. "Next," Emma said slowly, her mind racing. "Next, we just keep pushing. We organize, share our stories, and bring more people into the fold." A thought gripped her. What if we planned a rally? Bring everyone together, Make some noise, show Alex and his crew that we want to be silenced. Emma's brow knitted in thought and then brightened at the idea. A rally. Yes. We can use social media to get the word out. The buzz of excitement sparked in Emma's chest. If anything could galvanize their movement, it would be a solid plan, but just as she began to map it out in her head, a chill ran down her spine as she spotted Alex slipping away from the crowd, phone in hand. She squinted, trying to catch every detail. Was he calling for backup? Was he plotting? Wait, Emma said, pointing. What is he doing? Mia turned her gaze and gasped. If he is getting more people involved, we need to move fast. Emma felt alive at that moment, urgency driving her forward. Let us gather everyone we can right now. We have to act, and we have to act together, before he can rally his troops. With a quick nod from Mia, they sprang into action. Together, they rushed to the center of the crowd. Emma clapped her hands to grab attention, adrenaline flooding her veins. All right, everyone, she shouted, her voice resonating. The energy shifted as eyes turned toward her, confusion mingling with concern. We need to plan, and we need to plan fast. Murmurs spread, but above them, Emma felt the buzzing current of determination running through her like electricity. Each face in the crowd reflected a shared resolve, a commitment to create change. As she spoke, Emma couldn't help her mind from wandering back to Alex. His sly smile, the threats, the darkness behind his eyes. What more was he capable of? Was this about to escalate? We stand for each other, she said, her voice steady. We're stronger united, and we won't let fear dictate our actions. Cheers exploded from the crowd, feeding her fervor. But in the back of her mind, the haunting question remained. Just how far was Alex willing to go to maintain his control? In that moment, as they rallied together, Emma felt an unshakable bond forming, but also the weight of an unseen storm gathering. If they faced off against Alex and his followers, what consequences would follow? The nights grew darker, the whispers at school more ominous. The battle was only just beginning, and as Emma looked into the faces of her friends and allies, she felt both hope and dread swelling within her. What would happen when they finally confronted Alex? Would they be prepared for the fight of their lives, or more? The message boards lit up with excitement after Emma's call to action. As the days rolled on, their plans coalesced, and a sense of momentum surged through the group. They spread flyers, coordinated social media posts, and rallied everyone who dared to speak out. Hope twisted around their hearts, warming them against the frigid threat of Alex. Mia was at Emma's side, relentless in her efforts. This is insane. Did you see how many people RSVP'd for the rally? She exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with disbelief. Emma glanced down at her phone, her heart thumping. The notifications fluttered like a flurry of butterflies. I can't even process this. She laughed, a bit unsteadily, but deep down, elation danced with fear. Nerves clawed at her, though she kept her lips pressed together, showing only a brave front. Are you okay? Emma asked, sensing the change in tone. Yeah, just feeling the weight of it all. Emma paused, biting her lip. What if Alex tries something before the rally? Mia's brow furrowed. We can't think like that. We have to stay strong, remember? We can't let him intimidate us. Together, they brainstormed. Let us have a meeting tonight, Emma suggested, urgency creeping into her voice. We can figure out our defenses. Talk strategy. That evening, the dim light of the school auditorium cast long shadows as students crowded in, anticipation buzzing in the air. Emma, standing at the podium, scanned the sea of faces, recognizing courage in every pair of eyes. They were all there, ready to fight. But was it enough? We need to have a plan in case things get out of hand, Emma started, her voice steady. Alex won't just sit idle while we gather strength. We have to think about our safety, not just about growing our movement. Nods of agreement and murmurs of fear echoed back at her. What if he shows up? Someone called out. Or worse, brings his followers. Another voice added, and the tension in the room escalated. Emma felt the energy shift, morphing from hopeful determination to heavy anxiety. Listen, she said, raising her voice to cut through the growing din. We're more than just a group, we're a community. We share each other's strengths. We need to trust in that, even when we're scared. Dark thoughts flashed through her mind, images of Alex with that sinister smile, threats spilling from his lips. But we also need to be smart about this, she continued. Set up safety protocols. Make sure we know where to go and who to look for if something doesn't feel right. A tall boy in the back raised his hand. We could create a buddy system. Never let anyone be alone. Safety in numbers, right? Yes. Exactly. Emma's heart leapt at the support. Let us break into smaller groups and establish check-in points at the rally. Laughter and cheers erupted, a sound so powerful it made Emma's chest swell with pride. They were not just planning, they were solidifying a bond. But as the meeting ended and everyone dispersed, doubt wormed its way back into her thoughts. Was it enough? Was she really ready for what lay ahead? The days blurred into one another as anticipation built. Each morning, Emma woke with the specter of confrontation looming over her. The tension in the air thickened, suffocating. Once again, she found herself staring at her phone, searching Alex's social media for hints, any semblance of his plans. Nothing. Just a suffocating hush that felt like a storm brewing behind a curtain. Then, on the night before their rally, a text pinged from MIA. Did you hear? Alex is planning something. Emma's stomach dropped. What was he up to? Her heart raced as she stared wide-eyed at the screen. Did they really know what was coming? Were they prepared for the fight of their lives, or was this merely another step into a deeper darkness? Emma tossed and turned, the weight of uncertainty pressing down on her like a heavy blanket. Every creak in the house made her heart race faster. She wasn't sure how much sleep she'd managed before the alarm rang, but as she fumbled to silence it, a sense of dread washed over her. The rally was today, and everything felt critical. In the rush of getting ready, Emma couldn't shake an eerie feeling. It wasn't just the excitement thrumming through her veins, it was the nagging voice of worry whispering about Alex. She glanced at her phone as she slid her shoes on, hoping for a change in the tides. No messages. Just silence. As if the world held its breath, waiting for the inevitable storm. Emma arrived at Emma's house right on time, eyes wide with enthusiasm but her brow knitted with concern. You ready? She asked, fiddling with the straps of her bag. Emma forced a smile, but it felt brittle. Yeah, just we're going to make a difference today, MIA interjected, her voice firm. Just remember that. Right, Emma replied, her voice barely a whisper. They hopped into MIA's car, the air buzzing with a mix of nerves and excitement. The drive felt like an eternity, each red light extending the moment, each passing street lamp marking the countdown to confrontation. As they pulled into the school parking lot, Emma's heart raced. A crowd had already gathered, a vibrant mix of banners, makeshift signs, and smiling faces fueled by hope. It struck Emma just how many people believed in their cause, in them. This wasn't just her fight anymore, it was theirs. With every step she took toward the makeshift stage, she felt that weight ease, morphing into determination. Emma climbed up the small set of stairs leading to the stage, the cacophony of voices growing louder. When she looked out, she was met with a sea of familiar faces, each one looking up with expectation. We're doing this, she thought, and for a moment, the fear ebbed. Hey everyone, she called out, her voice carrying over the crowd. The front lines swayed in anticipation. Thank you for being here today. You all are the heart of this movement. Cheers erupted, drowning out her thoughts of Alex. This was the moment. The revolution was born from a voice rising above the chaos. But was Alex lurking somewhere, ready to sabotage it all? Emma spoke from her heart, sharing her story, her fears, and her dreams for a safer school. With every word, she saw her peers nod with understanding, their empathy shining through. She felt power surge through the crowd, invigorating her spirit. But then, just as she started to feel invincible, a chill ran down her spine. Glancing toward the entrance of the parking lot, she saw a shadowy figure leaning against a car. The sight twisted her stomach into knots. MIA, she shouted, trying to keep her tone steady. Can you see that? Is that I see it, MIA confirmed, her expression shifting from zeal to alertness. Alex. Emma's heart sank as she locked eyes with him. The sneer on Alex's face was alight with a menacing confidence that stole the warmth from the air. A rush of fear and defiance stormed through her. "Stay here, Emma," MIA urged, but Emma's feet had already begun to move. Every voice in her head told her to retreat, yet her determination propelled her forward. The crowd was blissfully unaware of the brewing storm as Emma took a step toward Alex, her heart hammering, was she really ready for this? "Just remember, you can't let him take your power," MIA whispered firmly, rallying behind Emma. As they closed the distance, Emma felt a sudden clarity, a deep-rooted strength rising within her. Whatever happened next, she was ready to confront it. Together, but then Alex stepped into view, his smirk widening. "You think this will change anything?" His voice cut through the crowd, deceptive calm overshadowing his intention. "What if this was just the beginning?" Emma shot back defiantly, her heart soaring. But that struck a nerve, the tension in the air crackled, foreshadowing the confrontation brewing beneath their feet. What would Alex do next? And was Emma truly prepared for the battle of a lifetime? The rally surged with energy, a vibrant sea of hope and determination waving around Emma. Yet as she zeroed in on Alex's sneer, the anxiety pooled in her stomach like stones. What is he planning, she thought, bracing herself for impact. "Listen, everyone," she shouted, her voice breaking through the murmur. "We've come together today not just to stand up for MIA, but for every person who has ever felt pushed aside, silenced." Cheering erupted again, but Emma couldn't shake the feeling that Alex was lurking like a storm cloud on the horizon. "What are you going to do, Alex?" she demanded, taking a confident step forward. "Are you here to tear down what we're building?" "Oh, I'm not worried about your little group," Alex replied, an unsettling calm drenching his words. "I'm just concerned about the fallout, for you." His gaze swept over the crowd, and suddenly she felt the air grow thick with tension. The cheer faded into worried whispers, and Emma caught glimpses of anxious faces. Emma stepped close, her voice a soothing whisper as if to fortify Emma's wavering courage. "Just keep going, Emma. Show them the change happens here, now." Gathering her breath, Emma gazed into the sea of faces, feeling hearts beating together as one. Each smile, each nod radiated strength back to her, coaxing her forward. "This isn't just about us. It's about our entire school. We will support each other and create a safe place." The crowd roared in response, their steadfast belief igniting her faith. But then she saw it, the quick movement at the fringe. Alex stepped back, his phone glistening in his hand, and Emma's pulse quickened again. "What now?" she thought, but before she could voice her concern, a sinister laugh escaped him. "Go ahead, keep talking," he said, the smirk still plastered on his face. "You'll see soon enough what tension really feels like." His words dripped with menace, and Emma felt the room shift, whispers turning into a worried tide. "What is he doing?" a voice cried out from the crowd. Emma scanned the horizon of faces, her breath catching as she spotted a group of Alex's followers approaching, a tangible air of hostility fizzling around them. Panic gripped her heart. Had they miscalculated? She had brought hope, but was it going to be met with violence? Would their mission crumble like fragile glass? "MIA," she began, shaking slightly. But MIA's gaze caught her firmly, grounding her. "Stay strong, Emma. This is our moment now and always." In that instant, Emma felt a wave of resolve wash over her. The power of unity thundered within her, louder than the shadows threatening to emerge. "Everyone," she called out, her voice stronger, bolder. "Remember why we're here. We stand for compassion. We won't let fear drown our voices." The crowd erupted in renewed cheers, drowning out the tension surrounding them. Each face shone with a collective spirit, renewed hope filling the air like bright sunlight after a long storm. Suddenly, a crack appeared through the anguish of uncertainty. "If he wants to play dirty, let us show him we're not afraid," Emma encouraged, infusing her words with a daring vibrance. The spectators rallied, and each roar reverberated off the school walls, twirling around Emma, amplifying courage. "We need to be there for each other. Let us make change together." Then came the sound of something heavy crashing, a distraction, a flash of chaos. Emma's heart plummeted as the commotion flared near the back. Without thinking, she bolted from the stage, adrenaline fueling her movement. "No!" she shouted, her breath ablaze with urgency. "Don't let this split us. The atmosphere cracked and shifted as Alex's followers pushed forward. But Emma could feel the energy of solidarity blooming like spring flowers through the space. Students banded together, forming barriers of safety, arms linked in support. "Fight back!" Alex shouted, but Emma's heart leaped at the overwhelming surge of voices defending each other. "You don't control us." As fists pumped and shouts echoed, the tide surged for changing lives. Emma, buoyed by MIA and their classmates, moved through the swirling energy, reminding everyone that love trumped hate. Each face she passed ignited warmth and strength within her. "We are more than just labels. We are stories, love, and compassion wrapped in flesh," she declared amidst the chaos. One by one, their voices lifted in unity, drowning out Alex's taunts. Alex's face twisted, his confidence waning as the realization of dwindling power dawned on him. "Enough!" he yelled, the empty bravado stripped away as the crowd surged with determination. But it was Emma who stirred the last ember of courage. "Let us stay together," she yelled, and overwhelming support clamored through the air. They were a community at last, a movement empowered by love and acceptance. Finally, as the cloud of hostility faded, Emma turned to face Alex directly, standing her ground. "No more threats, no more games. Your bullying stops here. We are ready to fight back, not just for MIA, but for every single person who deserves a voice." Cheers erupted like thunder, fueling the metamorphosis of the crowd. Watching as Alex faded into darkness, Emma felt the dread that had gripped her slip away, replaced by soaring hope. They had faced the darkness together, planting the seeds of change. The moment was electric with possibility, and Emma reveled in the freedom that came from standing strong. They had transformed fear into action, creating a community of resilience, fragile yet unyielding. With the sun beaming down, Emma knew they had done something profound. Together, they had sparked change, and this was just the beginning. As the crowd finally began to disperse, the exhilaration still echoed through the air. Emma felt that lightness as they embraced the uncertainty ahead, ready to rise even higher. The struggle wouldn't end today, but they now had the strength to face it, side by side, and in that shared moment of victory, she knew the next chapter was written not in fear, but in the spirit of unbreakable support. Now was the time for action. Don't miss out on more incredible stories like this one. You need to subscribe now to the channel so you won't miss a moment. Leave a like now to keep the algorithm alive and thriving. Comment below with your thoughts and feelings about this massive transformation, and finally, share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see what true bravery and solidarity look like. Don't wait not even one more second to support this journey.